going on, y'all? It's your boy Mike Ryder, Mr. Accountability, the man behind the microphone. You are tuned in to another edition of Mike Ryder Talks. And guess what? I got a special show lined up for y'all tonight. I got some special guests in the house with me tonight. But before I get into that, let me get into this. It's May. It's Mental Health Awareness Month, and we're doing some big things in honor of that. Y'all saw last week, I had the men's panel on to discuss their mental health. This week, I got the women's panel. I got a group of ladies joining me tonight, and we're live. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube, just like we are every week, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Well, it's supposed to be 7, but I run late sometimes. Forgive me. I thank y'all for tuning in. I'm not going to hold y'all any longer. I'm going to go ahead and get into it. I want to get into my guest. I got a panel of ladies joining me this evening who are some very special individuals. If you're watching this, you may know who they are. You may not know who they are. You may have seen them before. You may have not. I'm joined by a doctor, a psychologist. Let me clear that up. I got this young lady right here. We're going to get into her in a minute as well. Professional woman from Delaware. Got someone from the Macon, Georgia area. Entrepreneur, businesswoman. We're going to get into all that. And you know what? Without further ado, ladies, if you would, show yourselves for me. Turn your cams on, turn your microphones on. Let's get to it. How y'all doing this evening?
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go around the room. I'm going to let y'all introduce yourselves for the audience, and we're going to get into it. Let's start with the person right below me, Miss Teiwan.
Hello, everyone. I'm Teiwan Williams. I'm the owner of Foxy Box. I'm a mother of 2. My daughter will be 22 at the end of the month, and my son will be 12. But that's me. Hey, everybody.
I'm going to go ahead and move to my immediate right. I think I got that right.
Yeah.
Miss Keisha, how you doing?
Yes. Good. My name is Keisha Hogan. I am an IT professional here in Wilmington, Delaware. I'm a mom of 4. I have 3 grown children, 26, 23, and 18 and 16. And I'm from Delaware.
Let's get it. Let's get it. So let me get to the person down at the bottom right. If you would, give them a brief description of you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Eboney Jackson, and you were right, doctor and psychologist. I'm a doctor, but I'm a psychologist in San Antonio, Texas. I hail from Wichita, Kansas, but I reside here in the state of Texas with my husband and my 8-year-old son and our little tiny, mean little chihuahua.
Gotta have that chihuahua. Come on, y'all. Ladies, we're gonna get straight into it. It's Mental Health Awareness Month. We're here to talk about female, woman, ladies' mental health. And we're gonna start this thing off right. How are you feeling mentally right now? Dr. Jackson, let's start with you. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling pretty okay. I was a little irritated because I ran into some traffic issues after work, but other than that, I'm feeling pretty good.
Feeling good? You feeling great?
Oh yeah, I feel good.
Let's move over to your left. Tier 1, how you feeling right now mentally?
I'm feeling good. I'm blessed. Today is so great. Today is great.
Come on now. It's a great day. You know it is. And to my right, Keisha, how you feeling right now?
I'm feeling good. I feel at peace, which is something that does not always come easy, but I can say I feel at peace. So I'm very happy to report.
Thank y'all. I'm glad I have a panel of people who are feeling good right now. They're feeling at peace. They're feeling good. Despite the traffic issues, everyone's feeling good. we're going to go ahead and roll into the topics. I got a laundry list of questions that I'm going to ask you, ladies. We're going to keep the answers brief, simple, but be as detailed as you can because we want to break this thing down. We want to uplift people. We want to inform them that, hey, your mental health matters, especially the ladies. So we're going to get right into it. How important is your mental state? Teiwan, I want to start with you. How important is your mental state?
Your mental state is very important. And the reason why I say that is because last year I lost my son, dad, and my best friend 3 weeks apart. And I lost my father in the same year. And starting a business and everything like that, it does get hard. But I can tell you that with good friends and God on your side, you can prevail. I do believe that. Do believe that. And I stand with that always.
You can prevail despite any losses, despite any tragedy. You can prevail. And you said your mental state is very important.
Yes, it is. You have to, it's a fight. It's definitely a fight. And even, I even had a therapist myself because it was very hard for me. But I'm very thankful because I gave myself that self-confidence that to say that it's okay. You need that. You can't do it all by yourself.
You can't do it all by yourself. We're going to get into therapy too. That's going to be a little later down the line. I want to ask you, Keisha, how important is your mental state?
For me, if my mental state is not in check, if I don't check in with myself, everything else is a mess. And I can say that from a place of it's been a mess, and I see how the issues that it presents in my life. When I'm not mentally clear, when I'm not clear on my emotions, what I feel, why I'm feeling what I'm feeling, everything else runs amok. So for me, if I'm not good, my home isn't good. My girls aren't good. I'm not good at work. I'm not good at home. So for me, what I've learned just through years of having issues, being depressed, having anxiety, things like that, I've learned that the first person I have to check on and make sure that is good in this house is me. Everything starts with me. And I'm even my daughters now, I check in with them. Like we do once or twice a week, I'll do mental health check-in. How's everybody feeling? My daughter was a senior this year. With everything going on with the pandemic, I just wanted to check in to make sure they were good, mentally good. And so it's something that I'm really trying to make not a stigma. I want it to be a part of their regular self-care. How you feeling up here? How you feeling in here? That's important to me.
And I like that you brought that up. That is exactly why I started the show off and said, hey, how are you feeling right now? That's something that needs to be normalized. We need to check on our people, whether they're family or friends. So I'm going to bring that same question down to Dr. Williams. How important
Jackson.
is your, I'm sorry.
It's
Dr.
okay.
Jackson. Hey, listen, I try not to make mistakes, but Dr.
It's all right.
Jackson, how you feeling? Not how you feeling. See, I done got thrown all the way out.
It's all
Good
right.
God Almighty.
Well,
How important is your mental state?
Well, it's incredibly important to me. I'm a psychologist, so this is what I do for a living. And so if I can't practice what I preach, I shouldn't be preaching it, right? So your mental state is incredibly important. Like the other panelists said, it completely affects how you function. No matter what's going on around you, around me, I should say, if I'm good mentally, I can deal with it. No matter what storm is going on around me, if I'm good mentally, I can deal with it. If I'm not in a good place mentally, emotionally, then I won't be able to deal with those same stresses the same way I would if I was good. So it's extremely important to me that I'm taken care of first. Because if I can't take care of myself first, I can't be there for nobody else.
That's right. Sorry.
That makes a lot of sense. And I'm glad you mentioned taking care of yourself. That's going to roll into my next question. What is your knowledge of self? How well do you know you? And since you said that and you kind of segued us into it, Dr. Jackson, not Williams.
It's okay.
Doc, Dr. Jackson, how well do you know yourself?
I think I know myself pretty well, through a number of reasons. Did a lot of soul searching. You have to live and learn. So a lot of stuff was learned through life experience, and other things were learned from just asking other people. Sometimes your perception of yourself ain't right either. So you got to ask other people, like, okay, am I good with this or not? And so that's when having a good support system around you who is going to be honest with you is important. Not people who are just going to be yes people, but people who are actually going to hold you accountable. That helps you grow and learn more about yourself.
Accountability, that does a lot.
Yeah.
Keisha, I want to ask you the same thing. What is your knowledge of self? How well do you know you?
Um, I know myself the best. It's been a journey, a lot of self awareness, a lot of therapy. I have been in therapy for 14 years because I have a chronic health condition. And so when I was originally diagnosed, of course, they tell you to get a therapist because you're in for a ride. And I initially went and talked about medical things, but the more I um, got comfortable with my therapist and we developed a rapport, I was able to work on other things. So I can say now that I'm very self aware. I know myself the best. I know when I need to take a break and take a step back and say, this is too much. I know when I need to process something. I know when I need to table things and come back to it later. So it's been a journey, but it's been a great journey of self awareness because now I feel like I tend to myself first. And unfortunately, when you're a mom and a Black woman and a wife, you are responsible for the ebb and flow of other people. And so it's very easy for you to put other people's needs and wants and their well being ahead of your own. And I had to learn, you know, the hard way that I had to put myself first or I'm no good to anyone else. And so it's been a journey, but I'm pretty self-aware and I feel good about it. I feel really good about it.
Taiwan, we're going to let you finish this topic off. How well do you know yourself? How good is your knowledge of Taiwan?
Well, I would definitely say for both ladies, they spoke perfect. Perfect. I think with me, I give myself time to get grounded. Um, I do my morning rituals and things in that nature when I'm stressed or I'm confused. But the most important thing is self care. You have to take out time for yourself. And believe it or not, I am learning how to create more boundaries for myself and other people. When days I cannot or I'm not available, I say no because I used to be the yes person. But now I look back on myself, I have to come first because if I don't take care of me, who else is going to take care of me? And I have my two beautiful kids that love me, and I do have family and friends that do love me too. But if I'm not good, nobody isn't good. So I have to take a breather and step back and ground myself and take accountability also. That's very much so important. And being a mother, a Black woman, yes, it's a lot. So we have to just step back sometimes and sit down and breathe. We do have to do that. It's very much so needed.
Very much needed. And I applaud y'all for everything that y'all do. Me, I'm a Black man, not a woman, so I don't know what y'all go through. But I can say all three of y'all have something in common. Besides being Black women, you all mentioned something about like self-care, if I'm not mistaken. At least two of y'all did.
Mhm.
We're gonna roll that over into this. Let's talk self-care. I know y'all practice self-care. I don't have any children on the panel. We have grown women, so I know y'all take care of yourselves. Keisha, I got froze for a second. I was trying to do my little random picker wheel.
If we're gonna-
Keisha,
Mhm.
what are some of the things you do to practice self-care?
This is going to sound crazy. My neighbors look at me like I'm crazy. So, you do your running around, your errands. I had to go to the market, go to the post office. I will pull up in my driveway and sit there for 15 minutes and listen to music and scroll on my phone. I am not getting out the car. My kids is like, "Mom, what you doing? Just leave me alone. I'll be in the house. Just leave me. Just let me do my thing." And I will sit in that car and scroll, listen to a little Bruno Mars. You know what I'm saying? Just get my thoughts together. Go through my calendar. Who do I got to email back? Let me email the school. Tell them get my thoughts together. And then when I have my little 15, 20 minutes in the driveway, I come on in the house. I'm going to come back. But just let me have those minutes to myself. So that's probably the funniest thing that I consider self-care. Sometimes on Sunday mornings, the girls will laugh at me. I'll get up. First thing I do is go out into my garden. That's my other thing. Like, I love my garden. So I'll go out in my garden. I know my neighbor Michelle will look out. She's like, she's out there again. I'm out there just a pruning and a picking and a prodding and a admiring. And then, I come on in. But I've learned that being alone, just by myself with my thoughts, quiet, just time for myself, just with me is okay. And I think that a lot of times, as Black women, we move in clusters. It's usually girlfriends, significant others, children, family. But what I've learned is it's important for you to spend time with you. It's important. Yeah.
Very important. Very important. Tier one, let's take it to you. Self-care.
Self-care for me is early in the morning. I like to get up and meditate. Sometimes listen to affirmations and just quietness. I just like quietness because, I kind of respect the elders when they say they didn't want to hear any noise because they just want quiet. And you just like, be quiet. I just want quietness now. And,
Uh-huh.
and, and that's how I got into natural health with yoni steaming and just because we I know I have tried to run to other things and compromise with other things to find happiness or peace or anything of that nature. But when it all settles, when it's all done and you're at home by yourself, those thoughts are there. So I learned to not run from my thoughts, but sit down with my thoughts and say, it's going to be okay. It might not have did this right, but I can do it again. Or I don't need to do that again. It's okay. But I feel like the most thing you need to do is basically give yourself time to hear yourself and to tell yourself. I stand in the mirror and tell myself I love myself. And that is something I just started in the last couple of years. And I used to cry when I used to do that early in the morning because that's something I was used to telling everybody else I love them, but not saying I love me. And so I encourage anybody, give yourself that. Just when you're brushing your teeth, just look up and say, I love you. And it will really make a difference in your life. It really will.
Thank you for that.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
so much because listening to how you just put that, that makes so much sense. Some people don't understand the power of looking at yourself in the mirror, just you and the man in the mirror. I love you. You know what I'm saying? Or just speaking positive words over yourself, speaking positivity into yourself, pouring back into yourself, not pouring into anybody else, not the kids, no, not to the kids, not the dogs, not the elderly, not the neighbors, yourself, just you one on one. Doc, Dr. Jackson.
How do I take care of myself? Well, one thing
Yes.
I do is I exercise regularly. People don't really they underestimate how important exercise is for your mental health too. When you exercise, your body releases these nice little endorphins that make you feel better. So it's a natural way to manage anxiety and depression. And so I can tell when I'm not working out regularly because I'm more sluggish, my mood is all stanky. And so I know that is important for me to make sure I work out at least like I get about 5 days a week. I also practice yoga, and I'm a yoga teacher too. And so yoga is very beneficial in managing like just life. You get a moment to sit and breathe and be with yourself, your breath, and your body. And that helps me stay grounded. I can tell when I'm not practicing yoga regularly because I'm like, my thoughts are all over the place. My feelings are all over the place. And I'm like, I need to get grounded. So it's a good way for me to ground myself. And I'm going to circle back to what somebody said earlier, setting boundaries. Setting boundaries is important for self-care. You got to learn how to say no. Like I was one of those people too that had a hard time saying no. Like, yeah, I'll volunteer for this. I'll help with this. I'll help with that. And then I'm all spent up and I have nothing left for myself. And so if anything I learned during this pandemic is being able to slow down and be at peace with not being busy. So being able to be still, take some time in the peace and quiet and be one with myself. And I do sit in my car too before I come in the house.
Hey, listen,
It's fun. I'm just saying it's fun. You in the car screaming Whitney Houston to the top of your lungs. It's
Okay.
fun.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
listen.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all hit the nail on the head with that now. Dr. Jackson, I want to ask you something on a professional level. Your patients or whoever you deal with, without breaking your confidentiality agreement, do you tell your patients or clients about self-care?
Oh, yes. All the time. Because a lot of times when people are like stressed out, I go back and look at like, what are you doing? First and foremost, are you taking care of yourself? That's something that we look at immediately. Like you're suffering, you're having a hard time. How are you taking care of yourself? I always ask people that. And then I help them establish a plan on how they're going to take care of themselves. Because so many, especially women, especially Black women, we're the last person on the list to take care of. So I'm like, this is your time that you see me once a week where you can take care of you and nobody else.
I like that. I also like that Genesis in the comments, she was like, that's good advice, Dr. Jackson. Anybody watching this, if this is your first time tuning in or you're new to the stream, you see how I just put her comment on the screen. If you have a question or a great answer or something you can add to the topic, feel free to comment, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube. I will interact with you. I want to add something to the self-care. I'm not a woman. I'm not a Black woman at that. However, as a man, I recently started doing more things for self. Self-care is important. And each one of these ladies had different routines besides sitting in the car. All of them do that, you know. All of them have different routines when it comes to their self-care, but their routine works for them. If you're listening to this, if you're watching this, take something from them. Keisha says she hits her garden. That's peaceful. I've always heard like planting flowers or tending to your vegetables, very peaceful. Teiwan hit us with the sitting in the car. She playing her Usher Raymond, you know what I'm saying? She ain't getting out the car because she's singing. Doc hit you ladies and hit you guys and told y'all what she did to take care of herself. Self-care is important. Very important. I want to take this to another thing. I want to thank y'all too, because self-care is very important. I want to talk about your support system. How's your support system? And do you have one? Tier 1, I'm gonna start with you. How is your support system, ma'am?
My support system is great. I had to clean it out, but it's great. And with support system, we tend to, I look at it, I was always the giver and had a hard time receiving. So I had to really, like I said, get grounded with myself to understand that when you're looking at support, like I tell a lot of people, I look at support as just as friends from years ago, family, everything, to now to where I am. And there are some people that I share, and then there's some people that I don't. But if you have one or two people that will sit down and listen to you and let you cry on their shoulders, guess what? I'm all for it. And I'm always that person to give someone a shoulder, because I know how hard it is when you're trying to do a lot on your own and you're not able to have an outlet or someone to just be yourself and to be honest without being judged or saying, oh, I wouldn't do this, or I would do that, or I do it this way, but just allow you to talk and just be who you are. So I do have great people in my family, and I do have friends that allow me to do that. I will say that. Yes, I do.
Great. I'm glad you have a great support system, even though you had to clean yours out. And it's okay. Anybody listening to this, it's okay to
Mhm.
refresh your list. It's just like a friends list online. Go take those non-needed, unneeded, or unwanted friends or whoever out of your life, replace them with other ones.
Mhm,
Doc, I'm gonna ask you the same
mhm.
thing. Dr. Ebony Jackson, how is your support system? Do you
I feel
have
like,
one?
yes, I do have a support system. I count myself as very blessed to have a significant other who is incredibly supportive of like all aspects of my life, from professional to personal. And then, roll into that like my extended family. Even though most of them aren't here, they live in a whole nother state, I can still rely on so many of those people that I have come to be family, even if we weren't blood related. So I feel like I do have a pretty good support system, even professionally too, not just in my own personal social support, but my professional support is pretty solid.
Hmm. Keisha, same question
Mm.
applies to you. Support system. Do
Wow.
you have one?
I do. I am blessed as well. My children are mostly adults. So it's great to have raised people who are supportive and know me. They know what my needs are. My children are bluntly honest with me about you need to back it up. You might need to rest. You might want to tone it down. You're doing too much. And that's the beauty of it for me. My support system, I know they're brutally honest, but from a loving place. And so it's allowed me to be brutally honest with them, but from a loving place. So I'm very, very fortunate in that. And then I have friends that, I've lived in Cleveland, I've lived in Florida. I'm blessed to say that I have support all around the country. So, girlfriends that I've made years ago, we still talk. So it's good. It's great, but I have to agree with Teiwan. Sometimes you have to go through that list and cut off the people who are draining to you, who are not reciprocating that support, who only reach out to you when it's beneficial to them. And I'm going to go back to what Dr. Um, Jackson said, boundaries. Like, I don't even call them boundaries anymore. I call them fences. Like, I have built fences around my life. And if you don't have access to this side of the fence, you're just not coming in. I mean, it's just that simple. And it's sad because it's almost like when you're a Black woman and you set boundaries, some people want to use, oh, she's so anxious, she's so this, she's so that. I'm preserving myself. This isn't for you. This is for me. So I'm
Mm.
building this fence. You build a fence just like you do around your house to keep unwanted trespassers away. You're not going to trespass into my life to come and take what you can. So, having support is important, but keeping the trespassers out are equally important as well.
Because one thing I know that y'all can agree with me with is some people want access to you to not help you, to not support, but just to be nosy or just to be
Amen.
negative.
Yes.
You don't need that in your
Oh yeah.
life. I'm gonna ask y'all something.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Rhonda Pierce, if you can hear me, I'm about to get to your question. But I'm gonna ask y'all something real quick. I'm gonna play the role of your support system. I'm gonna be your husband. I'm gonna be your boyfriend, your fiance, your brother, your Beyonce, your father, whatever to you, your support system. What can we do to show our appreciation to you, to help boost that morale? You know what I'm saying? To build your confidence. What can we as your support system do to help you? And Keisha, since you finished off the last one, I'm gonna start off with you as your support system. Me, Mike Ryder. What can we do to show our appreciation to you?
Honestly, be there. Be present. Be a presence in my life. And I say that it sounds so simple, but I guess for some it can be so hard. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. Over the pandemic, um, for a while, it just seemed like everybody dropped off the planet, right? And then I was like, I ain't checked in with this one. I ain't checked in with that one. So then I just started sending messages, DMing people. Hey, girl, what's up? How are you? Ran across my mind. I just wanted to check in. You know what I mean? Not anything great or grandiose, but sometimes people just need to know if you need a listening ear or if you are feeling isolated or by yourself, you can talk to somebody. Like, I just need you to be physically here. Sometimes I'll even go to my daughters, like on days that I don't feel well, I have days when I don't feel my best. My girls will come in my room with all their junk and plop on my bed and they just camp out in my room. So just physically seeing their presence when I'm physically not feeling my best, but just feeling them around me, having that. And you don't have to physically have somebody near, but just a phone call, a text. Hey girl, was thinking about you. Let me know if everything's good. Presence. Presence is so important to me. I'm a feeler. I'm a love on people kind of person. I like to cook for you and make you feel warm. But that's just how I am. So that presence of not being in it by yourself. Sometimes you just want to feel like you're not in it by yourself. You ain't got to do it by yourself. I got your back. If you need me, my hand is right here. And to me, that means the world.
I'm gonna go ahead and take it up under you, Dr. Jackson.
For me,
I'm
it's
your support system.
acknowledgement.
Okay.
Acknowledge the things that I'm doing. Like, I'm a doer, and I appreciate when people just do things, not necessarily like run them ragged, but like say the kitchen is dirty, my husband just goes and cleans it. That shows me you appreciate me. You appreciated the hot meal that I put on the table by going and cleaning the kitchen. So some acknowledgement about the things that I'm doing to bring joy to your life is appreciated. And I think you touched on that too, Keisha. Acknowledging your presence, acknowledging the contributions that you're making to your circle around you. It is easy. And I love surprises. So if you want to buy me some flowers or something out of nowhere, or a card, I get happy if somebody just gives me a random card. I go, oh my God, you're thinking about me. That's enough for me. Like, I'm simple. Do something that I like. Give me a little acknowledgement and I'm good.
Come on now. Y'all are on it tonight, till 1. Wrap this topic up. What can your support
both of the
system
ladies,
do?
they said it perfect. And I would say this: listening. Sometimes we just want you to listen without being judged, without saying, well, this and that. No, we just want you to listen and give me a hug. I'm a hugger. You know what I mean? You just want affection. And it don't always have to be intimate, but just affection. Just to say you care. Just to say, I got you. Like she said, bring me a flower, bring me oxtail plate from the Jamaican spot. I'll be dancing around, and just to say, I was thinking about you, and I want you to know that I know this is your favorite. It don't have to be every day. The little things remind you of the seeds you have planted. And so we try to put out positive vibes. And so we want that back. But from saying it to you, listen. We just want you to listen. That
Mm-hmm.
Let's
listen
go.
also is
Yes.
important.
Yes.
You know what, man? Fellas, if you're listening to this, when you listen to this, write down everything they just said. If you're in the doghouse and you just take notes from this past, 5 minutes, I promise you,
Ah,
they will treat you like the king of the world
no.
because,
You can come back in. We'll let you back in.
listen, y'all pretty much
And just pick
just,
up something off the floor that we've been looking at. You know,
Okay.
Yes.
wow,
come
Okay.
on. I just really saved a lot of relationships and marriages just now,
Listen.
just by asking
Listen.
these three ladies that simple question. I'm going to tend to the comments real quick. Renee, she said, little things, that's a fact. Sharita, shout out to Sharita. That's one of my greatest friends. She said, great answers. My top three, yes, ladies. I'm not gonna do it with the snapping fingers. I ain't doing all that. But Genesis, she says, acknowledgement, supporting you in various ways based on seeds you are plantings, gifts, gift cards, spa day, run a hot bubble bath. Be creative, fellas.
let
Be
us sleep in.
Oh.
there you go.
Let me sleep.
Oh.
Let me
Please.
There
sleep.
you go.
Let me
Like,
sleep.
man. Yes.
Yes. Can I just get, please? It's Saturday morning. I don't want to make breakfast.
Come
Give them
on
some
now.
cereal. Please take them out to the IHOP. Do something. Don't ask
Mhm.
me. Mm-hmm.
Come on
Uh-huh.
now.
Mhm.
Come on now. Genesis, she also says, LOL, Mike Ryder, you planting those counseling seeds. You know, I do a little something. My sister Vernita, shout out to Vernita. She said, I intentionally just leave stuff on the floor. You know what? I don't read petty messages on my show. But however,
Go ahead. Finish my girl's
Come
message.
on,
Finish her
let's
statement.
okay,
Yes.
the ladies are asking me to do it, so I'm gonna do it.
Please.
She said, I intentionally just leave stuff on the floor because I want someone besides myself to get it up. That goes a long way. It
Yes.
does.
Mhm.
It does. I see you got a lot of our brother in you too. You acting a little petty too, Lynn. But I ain't gonna call you out on live national airwaves or nothing like that.
Mm.
What I am gonna do, I'm gonna get to this next topic. It's a little bit more heavy, but it has to do with mental health. It has a lot to do with something that affects us as a Black community, that affects you guys as Black women, especially working Black women, professional Black women. Like I say, I have a psychologist down at my bottom right, I have an entrepreneur right below me. On my right side, someone who is in IT. She's professional. She's in the tech world. I'm pretty sure in all three worlds, y'all experience this. We're going to talk about equality or inequality, the lack of equality, however you want to get to it.
Wow.
Doc, you look very anxious. Dr. Jackson, if you would start us off, let's talk equality. How do you feel about equality? Oh,
In what regards? Like in the workplace, home, in America?
wherever you want to go with it.
Like,
We could do America, we could do in your home, we could do in school, we could do in work, whatever.
well, let me start by adding the Black women are the most educated population in this country, but we are still highly underpaid for what we do. I can look at my pay compared to male colleagues, especially white male colleagues. It is significantly lower overall. So let's start there. If you want to get yourself worked up, ladies, go and look at how much colleagues are getting paid that are males, especially white males, and then you'll get real upset about that. But we know this already, though, right? We know this already, though, right? And I feel like, and I think this has been proven that like sometimes Black women tend to get worked harder because we get seen as being harder working, more productive, that we can take more, and so we get put more onto us. When in actuality, we're human just like everybody else. And we have to set those boundaries and say we can't do it all. Um, yeah, and overlooked. Thank you. Yes, most educated and most overlooked. I can't tell you how many times I get told I'm really good at what I do, and here's some more work, more challenging work to do. I'm not asking for you to compliment me and then load me up with work. Because it happens, right? I see y'all nodding your head. Yes. Don't load me up. Like, give me the acknowledgement, but don't work me like a horse either. Just because I'm good at it don't mean you need to work me like a horse. So there's so many ways we can go with this. We can talk about how Black women are treated with doctors, and labor, and how we are at high risk of dying in America in child labor. In what world does this happen? The richest country in the world.
I want to.
So I'll get off my high horse here. I'm sure they have other things to add to that, but I could go all day. I'm sure we all can.
Listen, I want to jump in on that. You said that we are in the richest country in the world, but we still having problems with labor and Black women giving birth. I find that just mind-blowing. I say this to people all the time. We've been on Earth for too long to be this far behind. Scientifically, we've been on Earth for millions of years. We look at the Bible said we've been on Earth for thousands of years. I don't know other religions. I'm not trying to leave anybody out. I'm not trying to exclude anybody. But what I'm saying is, no matter what amount of years you believe we've been on Earth, we've been here too long to be this far behind, to where Black women can't be treated fairly when they go into the doctor or the hospital. They say that I'm in pain, but they don't get treated like their white counterparts. They don't get prescribed the same medicine. They don't get fair treatment when it's time to deliver a baby, and y'all are still at high risk for dying while giving birth because of not being treated fairly. It's sad and it's mind-blowing, but I'm not going to stick on that. Teiwan, equality. Let's talk about it.
I'm gonna dance off of it just a little bit, but Miss Dr. Jackson was lovely. Another thing too, as for Black women, I would like for the stigma to change. If you're not married or you don't have kids, or you're in this age group and you're not doing this, you're not doing that, I think that definitely needs to change also, because just because you're not married or you're not, this does not mean you're not doing a great job. And people have to understand that it's kind of harsh, and it's something's wrong with you. Like, well, what's going on with you? Why you're not doing this? Why you don't have this? And we really need to stop saying that and just ask our fellow sisters, how are you? Are you happy? Are you good? Is there anything I can do for you? And instead of just putting this, if you're not where society, the old way I look at it, they try to make us stand to, that is not us anymore. We're outspoken. We're doing more. We're being more liberal. We're being more outspoken. And we just want respect for that. That's all. And just be loved and cared for and protected.
I like that. I like and I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for putting that out there. Keisha, I'm going to finish this off with you. Let's talk equality.
So I'm gonna try to keep it to 3 bullet points really quickly. Equality for me in the workplace. When I was in college, I was the only Black female in my class. I was surrounded by Indian immigrants, a lot of Asian people in my class. But I think when I graduated, I think they said it was like 5 Black people. Most of them were men. So I think maybe 1 or 2 females. And I see that now, even in IT. When I started the job that I have recently, I would, because when you have tech issues, we have a chat board where we kind of keep people updated. We keep each other updated. I would ask questions They wouldn't respond to my questions, which was related to work related things, a ticket number, something that I was working on. I'd be like, all right, does anybody know how we resolve this issue? They would leave me on red at work. So
Mm.
I just started copying my little messages, and then I sent them to my manager, who is a woman. She's a white female. And I let her know they're not responding to me. So then she started reading our chats. And when she would see a message of mine that would go unresponded to, then she would respond, or she would um, solicit a response. So that's what I'm dealing with in 2021, like right now. Now that I've been on the job for a little while, they respect my knowledge. So now it's when I ask a question, they're very helpful because I've had to pipe in and help them in a few situations. So that's the workplace. To speak to what you're speaking about, Teiwan, I feel like the monolith of being a black female, meaning you got to get married, you got to have a baby, you got to get the house with the picket fence. That's just, I think sometimes we adopt the pathology of our white counterparts. I think sometimes instead of us celebrating the fact that we are different, and we live different lives, we make different choices, I think sometimes we do pigeonhole one another to this standard. And I agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. I was married for 18 years. My marriage recently ended. But I understand the pressures of when you're not married and how you feel like maybe there's something missing. I've been married. Now I'm not married. I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I think I did my time. I'm good. But I can understand how to, because my mom, she raised the three of us and was never married. And my mom wanted her daughters to grow up and get married, you know? So I think a lot of times we hold on to other people's thoughts and feelings about how we should live our life. And I agree with that. I think that we should stop the monolith. There is no one way to be black. Black people don't listen to one kind of music. We don't eat a specific kind of food. We don't live in a specific neighborhood. We are as multifaceted as any other race of people and should be viewed as such. So I can't agree with you more on that. And then I'm going to talk about America inequality. The fact that in this country, you had people like Serena Williams, who is a wealthy woman, go to the hospital to give birth to her daughter and have doctors tell her when she said, I am bleeding and I don't feel well, you'll be fine. She had blood clots in her lungs that could have killed her and cost her husband and her daughter their wife and mother. Like the things that are happening are so blatant. It's not just inequality. It's blatant discrimination at this point. Like inequality is when things are just, in my opinion, a little unequal. All right, it's not quite fair, but we can fix the balance. But just like Dr. Jackson said, the pay gap, I would love to see what my white male counterparts make. I would love to see what they make. I would love for us to be able to realize some real measure of value in this society, in American society. When your skin is brown, America has taught us we don't value you. And it's hard. That's one of the things I wanted to ask Dr. Jackson about. How my son is 23. And so, I do try to check in with him about things that he sees. He stopped watching videos. The last video of Ronald Green that I think was posted earlier this week, he's like, Mom, I don't even watch the videos anymore. It's too much to watch. And I said, I don't blame you. So I'm kind of happy he's not watching the videos. But the trauma that's being inflicted on African American people at the hands of this country, the hands of the media, because they don't shudder away from showing it over and over again on the news cycle. They don't stop to think that if you are watching the news, because when we were kids, we had to watch the news with our grandma. If my grandma was watching the news, or you had to sit down and watch the news too. If you're watching the news with a 9 or 10-year-old African American male, and he sees every night on the news someone looking like him, his uncle, his dad, his cousin, being shot and killed, what does he think about his life? And why is it so hard to believe that African American people are afraid of the police? Look at how we are treated. I've seen animals treated with more compassion than Black bodies. So it's the inequality is not just inequality, it's blatant discrimination. It's blatant disregard for our life and our well-being, and it's blatant disregard for our mental health. If I didn't know any better, I would swear that we were being mentally scarred on purpose. It's the psychological trauma. I just wish somebody would speak to that. How do you overcome that if you're raising young Black boys and girls? How? Like, how do we even begin to address that?
Dr. Jackson, you're a psychologist. Please, can you answer this in some kind of way? How can we address these things?
One, it takes the system to acknowledge what they're doing. And the system needs to go away. I mean, look at when this country was founded. Our ancestors weren't considered free. Our ancestors weren't, we weren't in 1776. We weren't in the Declaration of Independence when they were talking about all men were created equal. So let's go back there. Like, the system really does need to forget a revision. Like, it needs to be completely done away with and start over from scratch. Because when you, from the installation of a country, establish that people aren't people, then they just take it and run with it for hundreds of years. We've already too far.
Yep.
What can we do? One, to help guard our own mental health is, like your son, Keisha, I don't watch the news, and I haven't watched any of those videos for years because it's traumatizing. I call them snuff films. And if you know what a snuff film is, it's like basically a murder on tape. People get off on it. I don't like it. It affects me negatively. I walk around depressed and angry when I see that stuff. And so I have guarded my mental health, and I have quit watching that stuff because I've seen the impact that it has on me. My son is 6-year-old was asking if he was going to get killed by the police. What 6-year-old asked this? What 6-year-old asks this?
Oh, yeah.
That is heartbreaking. That is heartbreaking.
Right. And that's, so imagine being a mother hearing that from your child. Like, is this going to happen to me? So guard your mental health. Try not to watch that stuff if you can help it. I know we want to be informed, but there is such a thing as being too informed and having too much. Sometimes it's too much. And when you see that it's starting to negatively affect you, turn it off. We know that stuff was happening before we had videos. We're not new to this. The rest of the world is
new to it. That's right. Yep. I couldn't agree with you
more. We knew this was happening.
It's just, to me,
guard yourself.
It's just scary to me. It's scary because when I was growing up, they talked about trauma and things like that. And, I heard for trauma, you need to go to therapy. And I'm like, okay, nobody has been more traumatized in this country than Black folk. But we don't have access to therapy, not in the way that we should, in my opinion. Where is the therapy in the low-income neighborhoods? You have liquor stores everywhere, but there's no therapy. You can't find free therapy. You have to have medical insurance. We know medical insurance is a crisis in the Black community. So how are you paying for these therapy sessions? Like, it's just, to me, it seems like it's a cycle that's designed to diminish and devalue. But the psychological aspects of it, to me, is what's most scary. And I have a granddaughter, she's 3, and I find myself shielding her from a lot, like the YouTube videos and things like, all the kids want to be on the iPad, but I realize the things that she's taking in are going to have an impression on her, right? And so now I'm like, how do we shield the younger generation? Like, what are we going to do? Like, how do we address this? And I think it needs to be addressed in school as well. Like, what are you guys talking about? What are these children being subjected to? And how are these conversations going? Because if you talk to little black boys about the police and then you talk to little white children about the police, they're going to have
A totally different
a
story.
totally different story. But how do you allow the two to speak and coexist in a school environment where both can be respected? You know, thankfully, my son, he has a lot of white friends. And one of the things he tells me all the time, because they hang out a lot, he's like, it's crazy, Mom, because my white friends are always like, Dan, if something breaks out, go home first. And this has been like when he was in high school, like his best friend, Bobby, um, they've gone to parties. The police would get called. The first person they would tell to leave, they'd be like, D, go home. Go ahead and go home. Because if the police come, we know the way they treat you is going to be different. They have another friend, Jermaine, the same for him. They're aware, and that's what he says. He says, Mom, I know you feel like it's crazy out there and people don't understand. He said, but my group of friends, they get it. They understand that if the police get called, I'm going to get treated differently. So there is some acknowledgement. It's just not widespread.
I'm going to say this real quick. The acknowledgement is there, but there's a difference. It's two things I'm going to get to. When you have a white person who has a black friend, they tend to be a little bit more sympathetic to what we can go through. Mm-hmm. When you have a white person who doesn't deal with black people, they try to just live that typical white life. No offense, because I have white friends. Mm-hmm. The second thing, just like the good doctor said, the system needs to be broken down and rebuilt. And when I say the system, I'm not just talking about the court system. I'm not just talking about the government. I'm talking about everything. We're talking about the things you see on TV, the things that are going on the radio, the things that go into the school system. Because like you said, in the school system, you have a black kid and a white kid. They have two different points of views. They need to be able to voice their opinion without it being looked at a certain way. So if the system was different, they could do that.
Mm-hmm. And you have schools and systems actively trying not to teach. I mean, like, you have whole states trying to pass laws now where they can't teach critical race theory, basically teaching the horrors of America outside of the things that, America's supposedly proud of. So you have people actively working to keep things back.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, and we have I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say, just like the whole there are still white Americans who do not believe that the Tulsa, Oklahoma Tulsa massacre happened. They don't believe it. They do not believe that it happened. And so I couldn't agree with you more. When the 1619 project that's being introduced, they are currently fighting it tooth and nail legislatively. They don't want the 1619 project presented, which if just that alone tells you what the thinking and the feeling is about our value and what we bring to this country. And I can't tell you, as an American citizen, what it makes me feel. It's angering. It makes you angry. And when you're angry as a black woman, a black man, we get aggressive and all of those things, but I have a reason. It's not, this anger isn't without warrant. This is warranted anger. Okay. But yeah, that equality one was a big one, Mike.
Mm-hmm. That's and listen, like I said, we're getting into the more deeper topics. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's okay to scratch the surface, but I want to go deep. Go as deep as you want. Yeah. I have a couple more that I want to go over with you. Well, actually, I have a lot more, but since we spent a lot of time on that, I want to get into depression. The things that y'all listed, the things that y'all mentioned, it causes anger, it causes depression. Past trauma causes depression. We've all been depressed, men and women. But since I'm talking to my ladies, I want to ask y'all this. How do you ladies deal with depression? Teiwan. How do you deal with depression, ma'am?
I'm gonna just tell you this. Depression is it's not pretty. It's not pretty. It can have you up at night. It can have you crying. It can have you tearing stuff up because you're just so frustrated. You just want to get it right and you just don't know how to. Um, I would definitely say that yes, I was depressed. I know how it is. I know how it is you don't want to you scared and tell anyone I'm depressed. I don't feel good about myself. And so you try to find ways to I call it self-medicate. But those things is I did years ago with drinking and things like that. But when it all settled, the problem was still there. So I had to learn. I used to get up every day. Um, like I said, I started like 3 years ago, getting up doing affirmations every morning and praying more and just writing down in my journal, reading more positive books, listening to more positive music, learning how to meditate. And I can say that every day it gets better, but it's a working progress. So if someone tell you, oh, you just do this, it's over with. No, you still have to do your walk. You have to do your, I call it shadow walking. You still have to do that. And just keep pushing because that's what I do. And some days I want to give up. Some days I'm like, you know what? It just seems like it doesn't even matter. Especially when you see people that close to you pass or and things like what I'm doing this for, it's not even going to matter. But that's just the negative thoughts in your head. So I give my negative thoughts names. And I was like, Keisha, not today, not this issue. No, come on, we ain't doing it today. And so, but that was one of my ways. I had to make it funny for me and not to be so serious on myself with it. So I would definitely do that. And when I do, I'll go outside and water my flowers. I cut up some music. I go shopping. I know I don't need to, but retail therapy is good sometimes. It is. But I definitely try to I like to hear other people doing well, and that gives me a sense of, hope and listening to people say, oh, I did this. I got a new house. I just got married. I'm engaged. I'm like, oh, okay. And it does make you feel, but you have to open your mind. It's called openness. So if you're used to doing things one way and it's not working for you anymore, that's where you need to stop right there and start to give yourself an opportunity to do something new. So you can invite something good into you so you can be able to do it and share it. Because I'll tell people all the time, like, girl, get you a little affirmation. Like, I even write them down some and put it on my mirror. And I get in my car sometimes. I be in the car talking to God like I'm talking to y'all now. I know God be like, oh my God, she got something today. What is she talking about? But I don't care. I don't care because that's my safe haven. That's what makes me smile. And that's when I do that, my day is great. I go on and I'm thankful. I'm just walk, cook, clean, whatever I need to do, call whoever, anybody need to call me, I'm there. So that's how I deal with depression. I really do.
We're going to move this thing counterclockwise. Dr. Eboney Jackson, on your professional side, on your personal side, however you want to answer this, how do you deal with depression?
So for personal, I can answer to both. Personally, I do the things that I enjoy. Personally, I do the things that I recommend others do. I do the things that I enjoy, like I really enjoy. Whether it's spending time by myself, because I like to spend a lot of time by myself. I'm an introvert, so I like to be alone with my thoughts. But if those thoughts are not taking me to a good place, I don't try to do that. If I find my thoughts aren't taking me to a good place, I'll either try to change my thinking to something more positive or distract myself doing something that I enjoy. The other thing that I do to help, again, I go back to this exercise. Like, really, exercise is therapeutic for me. And it's in general, it's just because it releases those nice little chemicals that helps us feel better in our bodies. That helps manage it as well. The other thing that I do is like I go back to the yoga and meditation. That helps me feel grounded. That helps me feel better. And if I did all of that, including praying and doing all of that juju, and it ain't working for me, I go talk to my therapist. Because at the end of the day, you don't have to go through it by yourself. When I feel like it's at a point where I can't manage it myself and I'm about to fall to pieces at any moment, then I hurry up and make me an appointment so that I can get myself back together. And so those are the things that I recommend people to people that I see for depression too, is, first thing in the morning, don't lay in bed. Get up out of bed, take a shower, make yourself, when I'm working with women, put your makeup on, do your hair, make yourself cute. Because when you look good, you feel good. And so if you ain't going, if you're not even going anywhere, at the very least, get out of bed, take a shower, get cute. And that's what I'll say, get cute. Even if you ain't going anywhere, because you'll feel better instantly. You might feel a little bit better just from doing that. Because what do people do when they're depressed? They don't want to get out of bed. They don't take care of themselves. So start doing that again. And, find some kind of activities that you enjoy to get into. And if you need to come talk to me, come talk to me. Because there's no shame in that. I don't think we hadn't talked about it, but it has kind of come up. There's a stigma of seeking mental health services in our community. We don't want to be labeled crazy. We don't want somebody trying to throw stuff, meds or anything like that at us. And so people have an aversion to going to seek mental health services. We try to go to church. At first, churches in Black communities weren't that supportive of that. Oh, you're just going to see the mental. They ain't going to tell you you just need to pray. And the Lord, listen, clinical depression is real. And prayer ain't going to fix it alone. It's just not. God gave us doctors, therapists for a reason. And that's what I say to people. We have these professionals for a reason. Would you say you're going to pray away your diabetes? Or you going to pray away your high blood pressure? No, you're going to take that medicine and you're going to eat right. So same thing with therapy.
Come on now.
Faith without work is dead. Yeah.
There.
You gotta do your faith walk with it. You gotta put in your work with it. Also.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right.
Keisha, I'm gonna let you close off this topic.
Oh gosh. So what I do for depression is the first person I call is my therapist when I'm depressed, not just down, not just sad. I can tell a shift in my mood when I am overly emotional, when I am crying because I done watched a commercial on the TV, when my emotions are just all over the place. The first person I call is my therapist because she knows what to say to get me back on track. We have a whole plan. I journal, I compartmentalize, and for me, it's about processing emotion. A lot of times I become depressed when I have a lot on me and I can't process what's happening. I'm not really describing what I'm feeling. I'm just feeling it. Sometimes you're angry, you don't even know why, you can't describe why. So speaking to my therapist, she'll be like, all right, so what is that feeling about? Tell me what that's about. And just having someone to articulate it to, just to get it out, it's so it relieves such a weight for me. So when I am depressed, I definitely seek out help. And that, again, comes from just being self-aware and being in therapy for many years. But a lot of the things that Dr. Jackson alluded to are my first go-to steps when I'm just down. When I'm down, I get up, I get dressed, I get cute, I come out of that bedroom, I come from down upstairs. I can't stay upstairs in my room because I'm an introvert too. That's my happy place. My bedroom is like, so I have to come out of my room. I have to get down here, get in the mix, get downstairs. And then I go outside. So I'll take my girl Lulu, my dog, and we'll walk in the neighborhood. Sometimes we'll walk around the neighborhood. Sometimes I'll take her to the park. But I have to get active. I have to get moving. And it seems like when I'm moving, walking out in nature, especially if I'm by myself, I can think through things a little more clearly. I can process the emotions a little more clearly. So it helps. But I do want to say to anybody who is listening or watching, if you are depressed, if you are sad, if you are crying, if you feel like you're just down and it's not getting any better, I implore you to please go and talk to somebody. There is no shame in checking in to make sure that your mind is healthy. Your mind runs every other function in your body. Okay. And if your thoughts are not good or not clear, and you're feeling just to the point where you're hopeless or helpless, please, you are investing in yourself and your own well-being by going to see a therapist. And just to touch on the Christianity thing, I remember my grandma before she passed away, she found out I was going to a therapist, and my mom had made a little snippy comment one time, and she said, "Girl, don't you know Jesus is a counselor? Jesus was the first counselor. So don't you say nothing to that baby about going to see a counselor. She's doing what she needs to do." So I don't want anybody to feel like it's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
having strong faith-based religion. It's nothing wrong with that. But do what you need to do so that you can be okay. Because nobody matters to you more than you.
Amen.
Yeah.
Listen, you kind of hit what I was about to go to, because we've been on this thing for over an hour and y'all have been killing this. I'm gonna wrap it up on this. Let me see, where is it? Do I still have it? Even if I don't. Okay, I got it. The show is not ruined. I'm gonna ask y'all. I'm gonna ask y'all to do this for me, individually, just to close things out. Keisha, you kind of just hit on this, but if you have more to add to it, feel free to do it. What would you say to someone who's silently suffering? Any piece of advice we can close out with that you can give to someone who hasn't reached out, who's afraid to talk to someone silently suffering. Give them a piece of advice for me. If you want to go first, Keisha.
I'll go first.
Okay.
You're not by yourself. You are looking at somebody who's been there. I had postpartum depression. I had other issues that caused me to be depressed. I have a chronic health condition. There is a lot in life, just day-to-day living, that may cause you to feel like it is too much. And sometimes it is too much. It's too much for one person to take. It's too much for you to put on your shoulders by yourself. You are not alone, and you don't have to go through it by yourself. There is help. And just remember, even the clouds run out of rain. It can't rain forever. It won't rain forever. It may feel like it. It may feel like it. It felt like it to me. But it won't. And there is help. And you can feel better. You can feel better.
Teiwan, same goes for you. Is there any advice you would like to give to anybody who may be suffering silently?
I would definitely say, do not feel embarrassed, and don't think that you're the only person going through this, because I know how it is when you're being strong and you're putting on this face for everyone, but when you are alone, you feel like the smallest person in the world. I'm going to tell you that it is help. You can get help. I had therapy, and do your affirmations, get with you a good support system. Hey, my inbox is always open. And if anything I could say to you or anything you would like to say to me, I would love to. And I just want to send out my love to you, and it will get better. Just step out there and go for it. It'll be worth it.
Thank you for sharing that. Dr. Jackson, Dr. Eboney Jackson, we're going to close this thing off with you. Any advice you want to give to somebody who's suffering silent?
Okay. Well, I think the other two ladies spoke beautifully about this. And I basically want to echo those sentiments and know that you're not crazy. And there's nothing wrong with you as far as a human being. Like, emotions are part of the human condition, and we all feel them on varying levels. And then sometimes you need a little extra boost. And just like the others said, you're not alone. Even if it feels that way, there is somebody out there that can relate to your experience. And so don't feel like you have to do this all on your own. And there are mental health professionals out there that you may not be aware of that are there to help you if you need to. And if things get to be too much, don't be afraid to seek help if you need to. So I don't know if I can add anything else on what they said. They said they had such great advice. Just to know that, all things don't last forever. Emotions are like the waves of the ocean. They come and they go, but they always end up going back out. And if you can just ride that wave for a little bit longer and find other people, then you'll be okay.
I want to thank all you ladies for coming through. Everybody who watched this, who are watching this now, who will watch this in the future, had some very powerful, beautiful, intelligent ladies on the panel tonight. The comments were off the chain. They were good. My sister said, ladies, you all have shared some great information. Great show. Rhonda, she said, ladies, you all have said some great information. Thanks for being vulnerable. Thank you all for this show. Genesis, she said, great information shared. And I'm going to go ahead and tap this thing off like this. It's your boy, Mike Ryder, Mr. Accountability, the man behind the microphone. You have just tuned in to another edition of Mike Ryder Talks. Just to wrap this thing up, you are not alone. You are loved. You are appreciated. I know May is Mental Health Awareness Month, but outside of May, each day of your life, you need to be aware of your mental health state. It's okay to get help. It's okay to hold your people accountable. I'm here to uplift. I'm here to educate, inspire, and motivate. You know how I do it each and every week on my show. You see the ticker at the bottom of the screen. Until we meet again, be blessed. I love y'all. I'm out.